Anyway, this is Rod, Boomer Guitar Sessions, back at you with episode 83. Episode 83, 83 more funky guitar tips, 5 funky meta skills in funk guitar. And we're going to go more history, more groove, more notes, more of everything that we, a continuation of the things that we were talking about in the last episode. So some of this is just to reinforce what I talked about in the last episode, and some of this is to go further with it. It's like taking things that I talked about briefly and going further with it. So with that said, first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the subdivision of funk. Now, when we talk about funk, we said the most important funk rhythm ever is the ground rhythm, is the thing that you nod your head to. So it's that ground rhythm, it's that thing you nod to. And you do want to move your body to it. Again, the rhythmics of it all. All right. Second most important is subdivisions of the 16th note. So 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a jigga 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 jigga. Huckleberry, 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 huckleberry. All right. Now that act that I'm doing there, everything sounds like a drum set. We want to be rhythmically together. We want to be sturdy like a drummer would. Lay down the pocket. All right. So then next thing that we do is with that mastered 16th note, we think about how the percussive element, we bring the percussive element in on it, and that percussive element that thing right there, that's called scratching. You want to get great at that. All kinds of scratching. Listen to guys that do scratching. Listen to the guys. Listen to the real dudes that have done this, that have created this style. Listen to everybody who plays it, but go back, do some history. So scratching is those dead notes, those percussive dead notes. And I'm keeping my arm in constant motion. Again, that 16th note, I'm not playing all the 16th note. I'm picking what I want, picking some, you know, I'm trying out different ones and seeing what works. And then if I find something I really like and it's really making the groove happen, then I stick with it. All right. So scratching. Now, next we get into the melodic riff of funk. So if I had the drum beat. Those are called, when they're muted, when they're palm muted, it's like percolating. It's like this, I've heard people call it percolating because it sounds like a drip coffee kind of thing, but also bubble picking. And it pays to listen to bass lines. It pays to listen to anything melodic that's happening in funk and try to take inspiration from it. It pays to listen to the vocal part when you're creating this stuff. It pays to listen to the horn riffs and horn jabs and try to be inspired by what they're doing. It pays to incorporate some of your double stops in on this. So single note line riffs can come from pentatonic scales, both major and minor. They can come from chord tones, and they can come from really anything, but it's like a lot of chromaticism, like. So chromaticism meaning half-step movement on the guitar. Okay. Next tip is tip number 4. Get to know your double stops. So if I have this, that's my chord. What are the double stops? What are the 2-note intervals that are within the chord? So, and I work with double stops in the context of chords. So that's one of the things I do. So I see there's a double stop there. Maybe there. Okay. Also that half-step movement. When we play dominant 7th chords, it loves that half-step movement. You can do lots of that half-step movement in and out. This is true in jazz. This is true in funk. All right, where the dominant 7th chord loves half-step movement, and you get into the arpeggio riffs and the half steps, neighboring half steps, and it creates really cool melodies and really cool opportunities for improvisation. All right, so there, that's a double stop. That's a double stop. That's a double stop. So these are 6. That's a 6. That's a double stop, so that, okay. So double stops, okay, so I suggest everybody who's into this kind of style of music also listen to Cornell Dupree and what he does with double stops. He and Jimi Hendrix played when Jimi Hendrix was a Jimmy James, and he was the rhythm guitar god of the 1960s and 70s. Played on lots and lots of recordings that you've heard before. Anyway, so double stops: fourths, fifths, octaves, thirds, fragments. You can practice them all and see what works for you. All right, and if it doesn't sound good, don't use it. All right, so next we're going to talk. The last tip is let's get into playing some minor progressions. How does minor funk work? Okay, so for the first thing that we could talk about in minor funk is you have your natural minor scale and you have your Dorian minor scale, which are the 2 different tonalities that you see most often with that. So the Dorian there's 2 progressions in Dorian that you see happen a lot. That Dorian 1/4 is what I call that. It's a minor chord to a dominant 7th chord, minor chord to a dominant 7th or 9, or a major chord. So minor 1 to a 4 chord, which is major, dominant 7th or 9th. It's Oyu Kamava. All right, that is your Dorian. Now the other thing about Dorian, the 2 chord is a minor 7 too. So we think Oyu Kamava, we think of Right Place, Wrong Time by Dr. John, we think of Flashlight, we think of Mr. Magic by Grover Washington. All these tunes are like Dorian 1/4. Lots more. Chameleon by Herbie Hancock. So a lot of funk fusion kind of stuff too. Okay, so now, another thing that we can do is like say natural minor. Every once in a while, natural minor progression presents itself. That was like is get down on it. Kool and the Gang. Kool and the Gang's guitar player is ridiculous. Listen to him. Listen to all the old Kool and the Gang. Even Get Down on It's a cool groove. Okay, that chord right there, that is a quartal chord, and that is something we want to get into as well. When something is quartal, like over the minor 7th chord, these are the chords that like people like Miles Davis and John Coltrane and the whole 60s jazz revolution. See, funk guitar players, a lot of them came from a jazz background. Okay, so they're borrowing all these things that they got from the jazz musician. So this, there's my minor 7 chord. What I can do is also have these chords, add these chords that are built in fourths. That rock guitar players never thought of, and they don't study and they don't use, and it's not a color in their coloring book. It is in mine. It is in jazz musicians. But the secret is getting to the point where you can use those chordal colors into your grooves and into your playing well enough that you can come up with stuff. All right. So minor, natural minor, Dorian minor. The notes, single note melodies are coming from minor pentatonic and arpeggios and outlining chords. All the places that you can come up with a melody, you can come up with in use over minor chords. A couple more voicings I want to show you, then we got to get going. This is your minor 7 chord, as we know. If we go like this, that is a minor 11 chord. All right, that is a minor 11 chord. If I go like this, that's a minor 13th chord. That is Payback by James Brown. That is Soul Power by James Brown. Catfish Phelps. That is Jimmy Nolan. That is old school James Brown. And that is the sound that people still use and should use because it's cool. So with that said, that's how you play it up there. Anyway, this is Rod, Boomer Guitar Sessions. 5 more tips. These are meta tips. These are not just licks. You got so many things so many variations you can. This is a big rabbit hole. All right. Hope you got a lot out of it. Put your questions in the descriptions or in the comments, and then tell 50 of your closest friends, and stay funky and get funky if you're not funky already. All right. I appreciate you. See you next time. Hi, this is Rod from Boomer Guitar Sessions. I personally wanted to thank you for being part of our community. If you like what we're doing here and you want to see more of it, please hit the like, subscribe, and share. And this helps me spread my musical messages to all over the world. Thank you. I appreciate you. And always remember, you can do this.